are asking the right questions. What is considered a small nation? Let me put it to you this way. There is a certain power scaling that is used to measure the power projection or the power of a country. All things that are including its economic power, its population, its military power, all of its technological advancements it has access to, and it's how much it can push. All of that math calculated into a list. It's a pretty simple thing you can look up. It's constantly updated every few years, or I think every year, constantly. But in a pretty ordinary order, it would be the United States, Russia, China, India, the United Kingdom, France, Japan, South Korea, Turkey, Italy, Brazil, etc., growing with multiple different nations until you get the least powerful nations and developing nations around this world. Now, in terms of that power projection, with the standing army of Iran and even its limited technological capabilities of no AWACS, limited radar capability, depending on Russian sophisticated systems or non-sophisticated systems, aging systems, Iran sits about 20-ish on that list in terms of the smack it could give, right? Nowhere near the United States or most typical nuclear powers, etc. But Iran is currently trying to get the atomic bomb, so that is definitely going to mess with that power scaling. But a carrier strike group would just sit above Iran at number 19. The 19th most powerful entity is a single carrier strike group. We're not talking about one. There are 2 carrier strike groups right next to Iran right now. The USS Truman and USS Vincent carrier strike groups are currently right next to Iran and in the Middle East with immediate capability. They are armed to the teeth to power project the United States and prevent Iran from doing anything they're not supposed to be doing. And what that includes its proxies in the Middle East and Iran itself. Now that you've added that second carrier group, well, the math has really been messed up for Iran. Adding the USS Truman and the USS Carl Vinson carrier strike groups to the math puts them at number 9. Well, now that we've added the USS Truman and USS Carl Vinson carrier strike groups to the math, that places them at number 9. You heard me. Number 9. Just under South Korea and just above Turkey in terms of the most powerful entities, along with all of the other countries with new and updated power scaling numbers. That would make that carrier strike group together 2.7 times more powerful than the entire conventional military of Iran, and that's just being conservative about it. Okay, the U.S. could knock out 80 to 90% of Iran's naval and air defense capability within 48 to 72 hours using cruise missiles, airstrikes, and subs. Iran has no meaningful counter to stealth aircraft or Aegis-class air defense systems, no carriers. Don't even bring up that fucking awful, shitty little freighter they developed. No AWACS, no 5th-generation fighters, no long-range blue water Navy presence. So operationally, a combined carrier strike battle group is like 5 to 10 times more effective in its high-tech naval air engagement, especially with zero reliance on land bases. Like, zero reliance. Like, on its own. Obviously, that is not the case. Those carrier strike groups would be getting full round-the-clock support from our land bases to continuously put the hate down. And we have other carrier strike groups that we can replace with those carrier strike groups when they've become exhausted and need to be rotated, meaning an on-the-basis rotating clock of fucking hate we could lay down. But we don't even need to do that long. Those carrier strike groups on their own could cripple the entire Iranian Navy, and Iran would just, unfortunately, watch as it would happen. Isn't that right, Papa? Isn't that right? Yes, sir. They're a big piece of shit. A gigantic one, even. Yeah? Yeah?